The fate of the former Sangamon County Sheriff's deputy is now in the hands of the jury. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Eliza Petrie. The jury began deliberating just before noon. They're tasked with finding Sean Grayson guilty or not guilty in the shooting of Sonia Massey. Grayson shot and killed Massey inside her home in July of 2024. Our Dawn Sterling joins us with what happened today in court and with jury deliberations, as well as what we can expect for tomorrow.
The jury was handed the case about 11:40 this morning, and they deliberated until about 4:30 when they went to the judge and had some questions. They were confused on some instructions that they were given. All attorneys and the judge took a short break to study case laws and decide what would be appropriate to tell the jury. After the attorneys and the judge agreed on what to tell the jury continued to deliberate. And they went until about 6 o'clock tonight, where then the judge stopped deliberations and said they will pick up again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. First this morning at 9 a.m. was those closing arguments. The state went first. Assistant State's Attorney Mary Beth Rogers called Sean Grayson a liar in her closing arguments. She said he lied about being scared of Sonia Massey. He lied about trying to turn on his body camera. He was going to arrest her, and she said the biggest lie he's been telling is that there was nothing he could do and that he had no choice. Rogers concluded with telling the jury, when you threaten to shoot someone in the face and you do, it's first-degree murder. Grayson's defense attorney, Daniel Fultz, up next with his closing arguments. And he really reiterated what he had said in his opening statements on that very first day of the trial, which was a week ago, Wednesday. He said opening statements happened, and what happened to Sonia Massey was a tragedy, but not a crime. He told them not to let their emotions dictate the outcome. He said the goal is to answer whether Grayson legally was justified in shooting Massey under Illinois law. Fultz said it doesn't matter if you don't like Grayson, if you can't base your verdict on that. Fultz also said Grayson believed that Massey was a threat. He said the jury doesn't have to agree with him on that, but they do have to keep that in mind, that that was Grayson's perception and that Massey escalated the situation. Our Monique Davis has been inside the courtroom since day one and jury selection, and she was in court all day today for these closing arguments. She has the Sonia Massey's family reaction to these closing arguments, Grayson's family's reaction to these closing arguments, and of course the jury's reaction to these closing arguments. Monique?
The state played the unblurred body cam video for the third time, and members of the Massey family were audibly sobbing. As the footage played, a Massey family member stormed out of the courtroom as Sante Massey followed closely behind. The body cam footage showed Massey gasping for air as she laid in her blood, and sobs could be heard coming from the Masseys. When Sante Massey re-entered the courtroom, tears were streaming down his face as he held Sonia's mom and her aunt. One jury member cried as she watched the footage and then covered her eyes with her notepad. Sean Grayson looked visibly pale as the state showed the physical plot to the jury. Sean Grayson's family could be seen burying their head in their hands, rocking back and forth or looking down while the state talked. The audience reactions were drastically different than when the state presented. Sonia Massey's mom, Donna Massey, rolled her eyes as Fultz's statement about what happened to Massey was a tragedy and not a crime. Members of Sean Grayson's family were nodding in agreement as Fultz presented several of his arguments. Sean Grayson sat closely to the defense table and listened intently as his defense attorney argued on his behalf. Most of the Masseys sat with straight faces, while Sonia's aunt listened with tears welling in her eyes. Some of Grayson's family would also read their faces in their hands. The jury sat and listened, showing no emotions. There were also moments where the Masseys would pass tissues back and forth to one another. Reporting in Peoria, I'm Monique Davis. Back to you.
Thank you, Dawn and Monique. Grayson's jury has many options. He can be found guilty or not guilty on each of 3 counts of first-degree murder, or guilty or not of second-degree murder. Fox Illinois' Spencer Davis is working for you to explain those charges and how they differ from each other. Sir?
Eliza, I spoke to an Illinois judge, a local defense attorney, and an area state's attorney to learn more. Here's what I found out. Convicting someone of second-degree murder can only happen if first-degree murder could have happened.
Is a situation where all the elements exists for first-degree murder, but the person has an imperfect defense.
Here you can see what can be considered first-degree murder. The state has to prove these things exist in the situation. The defense must prove while their client may have killed someone, they did so because of the circumstances.
First, at the time of the killing, he or she is acting under a sudden and intense passion. Second one, at the time of the killing, he or she believes the circumstances to be such that if they existed, would justify or exonerate the killing, but his or her belief is unreasonable.
Christian County State's Attorney John McWard says he thinks the defense is trying to differentiate Grayson's thoughts from his actions.
They're trying to separate the Grayson mindset, saying, yes, I did it, but I did so under the impression I was being forced with force. They're trying to make that decisive separation from what the jury has seen over the evidence.
Jury deliberations for first-degree and/or second-degree murder cases can vary in the time they take.
I have seen juries come back in 15 minutes. I've seen juries take days to decide. There are times that juries take longer in deliberation. The trial lasted. It's very hard to predict how long a jury will take to decide a case.
Second-degree murder can result in up to 20 years of prison time with the options of probation and parole. First-degree murder with a firearm can result up to a life sentence without the option of parole for each count. Reporting for Fox Illinois, I'm Spencer Davis.
Thank you, Spencer. Grayson was also charged for aggravated battery with a firearm and official misconduct in July of 2024, but those charges were dropped before the trial began. And supporters of the Massey family from all over the state have been outside the courthouse in Peoria since jury selection started on Monday, October 20th. The group chanting justice for Sonia and more. It's out to the same number of ralliers since day one, about 25 people. They say they will be out here for when the verdict comes down.
Continue to rally around the family, make sure that they feel support, and keep the energy up and out here as we wait for a conviction.
The ralliers have been peaceful the entire time and have solicited honks from those driving by. And as will be in court for deliberations for as long as they take. You can get live updates on our social media pages and on our website, foxillinois.com.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to watch more videos from Fox Illinois.